Have you ever wondered why, despite working really hard, following the same principles and steps as successful people do, we are still not getting the results we want? What if I would told you that the secret lies not in what we do, but in how we see ourselves? Welcome guys, Mike is here and this is Games of Reality channel, where I'm excited to share with you everything that I learned on my journey about manifestation, self-development principles, and how all of these tools and realization help me to influence my reality to my will. So let's dive right in. Today we're going to talk about self-concept. Self-concept, the other word we can use for self-concept, is a self-image. So before we actually go into nitty-gritty on how to change it, I believe we need to first understand fully what it is and why it is important to change it even in the first place. Self-image is essentially a mental blueprint that we hold about ourselves. This encompasses our values, our beliefs, our abilities, how we dress, how we talk, how we walk, our self-worth. And it's the combination of all of these aspects and more that we identify with on a very deep level. So how does it really work in real life? What's the power of self-image, you might be asking? Do you know maybe someone who is slightly overweight and they really want to get in a great shape? They want to lose some weight, become very fit, full of energy. And so they start to hit the gym and exercise and follow a diet, and they do it for some time, and initially they are starting to get some results. But eventually they always come back to the same starting point, being overweight. Then on the other hand, you have another friend who is relatively fit. And they also do exercise and they also follow a routine and they have a diet, but they just get progressively better and better and better. So how come when two people do exactly the same thing, they get two different results? You see, the actions, technique, and the strategies such as diet or exercise in this case are just the surface level things. The reason those two individuals get different results is because who is showing up to the action is far more important than the action itself. Let's call the individual who is slightly overweight Mark. Mark sees himself as someone who is being overweight. He's using diet and workout as a means of escaping who he is, being overweight. This is his self-image. And so no matter how long or hard he tries, eventually he always comes back to the starting point, because being overweight is the self-concept he identifies with. The other guy, let's call him Pete. He sees himself as already being fit. That is his self-image. And because being fit and healthy is his self-image, the diet, the exercise are all just natural consequences of his self-perception, which in turn is reflected in the results that support his self-image. It always starts from being to doing to having. This is the natural sequence in which things come about. And in many cases, doing might be exactly the same thing for the individuals, but the having or the results are very, very different because the being or the self-image who is showing up to the action is different. Physical life experience is just one gigantic mirror reflecting us back who we are on innermost level. We don't experience the world as it is, but as we are. And this was a huge realization and game changer for me. I tried so many things in my life. I worked hard, I worked long, I worked consistently, I tried different business ideas, but there was no change in the results. And then it really hit me. Those results are my results. And if I want different results, I need to change me, not them, because they are my results. So I started to focus on two key things that allowed me to change my self-image, to become the person I wanted to be. But I want to warn you, this is not just a walk in a rose garden. There are two big challenges that you will for sure encounter as you are changing your self-image. So make sure that you stick to the end of this video so I can share with you what to do when you encounter these challenges. Okay. So number one thing that we need to figure out in order to change self-image is the clarity. This is the single most important thing. First, you need to become clear on what is it that you want in life. So for me, I wanted to create a business that I love, that fulfills me and gives me the freedom to travel the world. Awesome. I'm clear on what I want. But now, here comes the self-image into play. I also had to ask myself, who do I need to become to live that life? Who is the person? What does the version of myself look like? How would I dress? How would I talk? How would I walk? What would I do in my day-to-day life? But most importantly, and I say this over and over again, how would I think and how would I feel most of the time? And the feeling is the most important of all of it. And it's that way for a few reasons. First, the feeling is the frequency. It's the energy. It's your energetic signature. And how you feel attracts into your life situation that reinforce this state of being. Second, your subconscious mind communicates through feeling. And so when you're deliberately choosing how you feel, you're communicating this to your subconsciousness. And this becomes your new default program. Being rich feels a certain way. Being poor also feels a certain way. Being in relationship with someone also feels a certain way. Every state of being feels a certain way. So what I would encourage you to do is to become clear on who you need to become, the essence of the person you need to become that lives the outcome that you want, and tap into it emotionally. The clearer you can be, the more you can define the traits and characteristic, clothing and all of it, the better results you will have. That's the key number one, feeling being the most important of all of it. The key number two is consciousness and embodiment. What you need to do is become increasingly conscious throughout the day. So what do I mean by that? You want to live life like you're in a dark cave without a light. So you need to be present and touch every rock and be conscious of your surroundings to make your way out of the cave. The reason why we want to do this is that right now, our actions, our thoughts, our emotion, and everything else is run by old self-image, which keeps us in the same feedback loop. Everything is run on automation. It's the subconscious mind doing everything. The current self-image is nothing more than a habit. It is the way in which our brain is wired. And so every time we become present in the moment, we no longer act out of habit. The neural pathways in our brain get weakened and eventually they fall apart. But what is even more important is that when you become present in the moment, we have the option to choose who we are being, how we think, how we act, and most importantly, how we feel. Neville Goddard says the feeling is the secret, and it really is. These two keys I talked about are literally the summary of the law of assumption and what it is about and how to make it work effectively. So we know who we want to be, we know what that reality feels like, and then during the day as we live our lives, we disassociate from the old self by becoming present in the moment and assuming that we are this new version of ourselves. The more we can do this, the more you can stay with that feeling and clear intention, the more you will change your self-concept, which in turn will be reflected in the results that you are having. And again, for two main reasons. Being leads to doing, that leads to having, or the results. And results always corresponds with who we are. And the second reason is that energy never lies. You will literally attract circumstances, people, and conditions that are equal to your self-image. Because as we said before, physical reality is nothing more but a mirror reflecting us back who we are on an innermost level. I want to keep this as concise and to the point as possible. So let me guys know if in the comment section if that all makes sense so far, and if you want me to cover a little bit more about it in another video in more detail and explain more all the nuances and how to work with your subconscious mind and what's happening on an energetic level. Let me know in the comment section below. Now, before we finish this video, I want to share with you two biggest challenges I encountered almost every single time when I was working on changing my self-image. So what happens when you start consciously embodying your new you and feeling like it's already happened? At the start, it will feel like a lie. You will experience doubts, you will experience frustration, and you will feel like nothing is working your way. I just want you to know that this is actually normal and it's part of the process. In fact, this is a sign of progress. Doubts mean that you are changing who you are and your subconscious doesn't like it because you are literally killing your old you. And so it throws at you these doubts, these frustrations, different irritation, and sometimes even circumstances so the old self can stay alive. So whenever you experience doubt, just know this is a sign of progress. Don't moan about it, don't complain about it, rather embrace it as a sign of progress and persist with your new assumptions. To form a habit, it takes around 28 days. If you can consciously keep embodying your new you, feeling like it, thinking like it, after these 28 days, it will start to feel less like a lie and more like your new standard. But don't finish there. Keep being the person you chose to be until the physical reality catches up, until you live what you truly want to live. The second challenge I encountered many times was that circumstances seemingly got worse before I actually got what I wanted. Some things might be taken away from you. For example, when I fully went for my dream and I started embodying my new version of myself, my ex-girlfriend broke up with me. My computer broke down and many other things went seemingly to the shit. But why it happened is because those things no longer belong to my new version of myself, to my new me, to the person I was becoming. Life is just making space for new things to come, and I struggled a lot to understand this in the past. I encountered this many times in my past, and when things started to go worse, I started to say, it doesn't work. Why is this happening? Maybe I was doing something wrong. And so what I was essentially doing, I was identifying with my old self. I was holding on the old, but I learned my lessons. When things get seemingly worse, it's actually because you're on the right track. You are becoming your new you, and reality is rearranging itself. Now it's time to stay even more true to your new assumptions because you're really doing a good job. Awesome, I hope it all makes sense so far. So just before we finish, I quickly want to go over one more time everything that we have discussed about transforming the self-concept. Remember, our self-image is a mental blueprint that encompasses our beliefs, our values, abilities, our self-worth. And this is crucial because it deeply influences how we interact with the world and, most importantly, the result that we are having in our life. So the first key to changing the self-image is the clarity. We want to become crystal clear about who we want to become. Think of all the aspects of your new version of yourself, from the way you act, to the way you think, and most importantly, to the way you would feel. And the second key is becoming increasingly conscious, because every time you become conscious in your day, you break the old patterns. You are no longer run by old habits, but rather you can choose who you are becoming, the feelings that you want to feel. Perfect. If this video was helpful, leave a like, leave a comment your thoughts about what you think about this subject. If you have questions, also ask me. I'm super happy to answer them. Subscribe to the channel. Share this video with one friend who really needs to see this and who would help too. And I will see you in the following episode, guys.